Give thanks now unto Jah Rastafari. It should be clear to everyone that these energy giants are trying to kill us with bills and prices. So I'm trying to think myself to lower my consumption of electricity and gas. So I'm getting a ceramic heater, which I'll do a video on once it comes. As far as cooking with gas now, I've gone back to the old school, because I'm sure all of you have got a pressure cooker somewhere up on top of a unit or in a cupboard somewhere, probably still boxed, that hasn't been used. I did have one, but I didn't use it for so long, and plus I probably used it to cook meat 40 years ago, so it got dashed in the end. However, I've resurrected my belief in pressure cooking now, because they reckon that this pressure cooker I've got here cuts down cooking times by 70%. Now when you're an italist vegan like myself and you eat a lot of pulses and hard beans like kidney beans, chickpeas, butter beans for soups, curries, masalas or whatever, it's like you'll know how long they take to actually get soft. I usually eat them too hard because I can't be bothered to wait for them to cook for so long. So I'm hoping that this is going to change things, and it reckons that it can do the beans once they've reached temperature and pressure in 15 to 20 minutes. If they can, then that's great. So I've soaked these beans, these kidney beans, overnight, plus a bit more, and I'm going to make my favourite soup with them, which is pumpkin and kidney bean soup. But all I'm going to do with the pressure cooker is cook the beans, and once they're cooked I'm going to transfer them to another pot where I've already fried my onions, garlic, scotch bonnet, etc. So I'll take you in again once I put the beans, drain the beans, put the beans in the pressure cooker, level it up with water, and then we'll put the lid on and start the process. Okay, so the beans and the water, I soaked them in because I checked that online. Some people say you shouldn't use it, but others say there's no harm. And because my water is distilled water, I'm using it anyway. So they say not to put it in. Let me just put the light on this. Yeah, not to fill up the cooker more than halfway because of what might swirl. I don't know if you can see the half measure there. It's under that anyway, and it says just to cover whatever it is you're cooking if it's the beans. So I've covered it, and now I'm going to put a fire under it and bring it to the boil. I've put it on a small hob because it says you shouldn't put it on a hob where the flames are going to lick around the base, because it will just ruin the stainless steel. So I put the lid on and closed it together, and just to show you the fire underneath there isn't coming out from underneath the pot. So how this is supposed to work now, it's supposed to bring it to the boil, and there are two stages of cooking. Stage one, the pressure valve on the top will lift up and display a red line. That's for cooking smaller things or things that take less time. We're using stage 2 cooking, which is the maximum, and for that we have to bring it to the boil and wait till the valve goes to 2 red lines. When 2 red lines appear, that's when the cooking time starts, and we bring the fire right down to the simmer and then leave it for the recommended amount of time. Okay, the pressure's starting to rise in there. I hope you can see the first red line that's appeared. So it's obviously boiling up in there. I'm just waiting for the second one now to show. And once that's clearly shown, then I'm going to turn it right down to a simmer and cook it for the 15 minutes that it says you should. Is everything going alright so far? Okay, the second line is starting to show now. I'm just waiting for it to rise a little bit more, and then I'm going to turn it down and cook it for the 15 minutes as advised. Second line clearly visible now, so that means we're in stage 2 of cooking, which is what we need for the beans. So if you look underneath here, I've turned the heat down right to a simmer. Timer's on 29, let's call it 30, so 45 minutes according to that, it should be ready. Okay, as you can see we're at 45 now, so I'm going to turn the heat off and I'm going to move it to a cool hob now and let it cool off naturally, and then I'll be able to open it and see how well it's cooked the beans. If you want the recipe for my kidney bean and pumpkin soup, it's on my channel, Emmanuel Aruf. I think it's the very first vegan Rastafarian cooking video I did back in the day. Ja Rastafari. Okay, so it's taken about 15-20 minutes to cool down so that I can open the lid, which I've now done. Of course you can't see anything because it's full of steam. I'm going to take a couple of beans, put them on a little plate and give them a taste. So there's a few beans I'm taking out, just going to give them a taste. Oh my days. This is it now. To get them this soft, no lie, normal boiling would have taken me an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm sure. So you use the same amount of energy to bring it to the boil as you would just boiling it. But then 15 minutes of pressure cooking and the beans are soft and ready to go. So earlier I said I'm going to transfer the beans, put them in another container, but I'm not because a pot's a pot. And I'm going to make my soup in there. So in these times of energy and the providers are robbing us left, right and centre, and the government in hand with them taking some huge backhanders, no doubt. Cooking wise, italists stroke vegans who use a lot of pulses, this has got to be the way to go. Save enough gas cooking your favourite food. This happens to be my favourite soup. Give all the praise unto the Most High Jah Rastafari, Selassie I.